Welcome in everyone to HogvilleNET YouTube Live. This is my in-game and post-game number 14 Michigans. The Arkansas Razorbacks in Madison Square Garden in New York City. It's the Jimmy V Classic. This is, in my opinion, this is Arkansas's biggest game so far this season, simply because it's their only chance now in non-conference play, 13 non-conference game, the only remaining chance to get a quality win. Everything else that Arkansas's got on its resume is quad 3, quad 4 in terms of wins. 0-2 in quad 1 coming into tonight. Don't have a quad 2 result, so you've staved off a bad loss. Now you're looking for a quality win. You're looking for back-to-back wins away from home in terms of 4 games total away from home, 1 true road game. You got off the schneid away from home a week ago tonight on a Tuesday by beating Miami, a not good team, a bad team right now, 3-7, lost 7 in a row. You then took care of business against San Antonio at home, and you're back away from home. And it's Arkansas's 3rd game away from home in its last 4 outings. But right now, Arkansas looks like a good basketball team tonight. They look like a good basketball team. And honestly, you're starting to see the difference on the front line with Jonas Adu playing a huge role, Trevor Brazile playing his best basketball. Both of those guys, you could see it coming in these last 2 games in the second halves, mainly. But those two have really been, you can see the difference with Arkansas's ability to be physical, have paint presence, and not only block shots, but get some tough rebounds and do some real damage around the basket. Big Z, as good as he's been shooting from 3, and you see it tonight. I mean, Arkansas's really struggled defensively when he's on the court because he just gets blown by. He's not a good defender. He'll block a few shots, but he's not physical either. And this is a game where Arkansas's got a lot of players right now, 5 players in double figures. Boogie Flann in his homecoming in New York City, 18 points right now. Adu Thiero, they said he's off tonight in terms of his health, under the weather, but 13 points for him. Trevor Brazile with 12, Jonas Adu with 10. They're both hitting the glass. DJ Wagner with a huge second half. Getting into his drive game like we know he can do, but he's knocked down 3 perimeter shots. I thought he hit 3 threes. I think they changed 1 to a 2. When Michigan went to his own defense, he shot over it early. Arkansas got into the soft spot of that defense in the middle, right around free throw line. It extended on a couple of possessions, made bad decisions trying to force passes when there was a wide open 12-footer to take for Nelly Davis and then Boogie Flann. And then after those 2 bad plays, Arkansas has been attacking correctly. Now, it's a trouble spot right now a little bit for Arkansas. The Hogs were down 14 in the first half, closed within 4 at halftime, started the second half on a 13-0 run to go up, and they continue to build on a lead, have led by double digits now most of the second half, as many as 18 points. But Michigan's on a 6-0 run to pull within 12 with just over 8 minutes to go. And Michigan's on offense now after an offensive foul call on Jonas Adu. So Arkansas is starting to really pick up the fouls. Michigan's in the bonus. Michigan, I think, started this game making 5 of its first 6 free throws. It's a sub 70% free throw shooting team. A few misses here and there in these in the second half. Adu picks up another foul. Let's see, he's going to the bench. I don't know if that's 5 or if he's just coming out for now. I don't see a graphic on that how many, and I have the volume down. So Michigan's in the 1-1. All right, so Arkansas's on offense. Danny Wolf with a tip-in on a missed free throw. It's down to a 10-point game. Michigan scored 8 in a row. It's an 8-0 run. I guess you could call it a game of runs. Big first half for Michigan. We've seen it so many times with the Razorbacks, but for once the Razorbacks didn't trail the entire way. They actually led 8-5. And even though they got down by 14 in that first half, had a really bad spell there, the Razorbacks were able to climb back into the game, really close the first half strong. I thought Boogie Flann, who started slow, really kicked things into gear, got an and 1, knocked down a 3. Big Z did hit a 3 in the first half to match a 3-point shot make. That's really all he's really given Arkansas in this game. I hate to be critical. He just took, on an inbounds play, just took a fadeaway 3 in the corner. Didn't go in. Michigan's on an 8-0 run. Has cut it to 10. Now back on offense. So I can't do live play-by-play, so I'm not going to describe what happens until the possession has changed. Another great pass. This looks like the early stretch of the game when Michigan put Arkansas down 14. It's now a 10-0 run. It's an 8-point game. Danny Wolf with another nice entry pass. Golden with a dunk. It's 80-72. Arkansas's on offense with 7 minutes left. The longer that Big Z's in the game, the more Arkansas's offensive foul turnover by Big Z. They got to get him out. I hate to be like this. They got to get Big Z off the court. Arkansas their defense is just awful when he's on the floor, in this game especially. And he's just lost out there defensively. And then I know he's a good three-point shooter, but a fade away from the corner on an inbounds play, and then on the next possession, an offensive foul. And this run by Michigan now, there's too much time left in the game after building an 8-point lead for Arkansas to completely fold. Adu is also back in. Brazil's back in. Arkansas gets a stop on defense and is back already on offense. You could just tell the difference defensively inside with those two in the game. Unforced turnovers. This is a bad stretch for Arkansas at both ends. Here's an unforced turnover. Good play by Boogie to penetrate. He may have been able to take a shot on that last possession, tried to pass to Adu, who was not ready for it. Ball out of bounds off Adu's hand. He wasn't prepared to receive a pass. Slow reacting to it. Dunk put back from Michigan on a miss on a reverse layup. The run now is 12-0. Arkansas's got a 6-point lead. Not finishing well here. But again, this was a game where Arkansas gave up 60% shooting in the first half. Michigan couldn't miss from three. And we've seen that play over and over again against Illinois. Right now, Michigan's the much better team in this stretch. It's really a lot to do with Arkansas's self-inflicted wounds again. Arkansas gets another stop. Now they've got to capitalize on the other end against a 12-0 run. Arkansas was up 80-62. It's 80-74, 12-0 run. It's been a second half of runs by both teams. Tough drive and miss for Boogie Flynn on the previous possession. Michigan's got the ball. And you're probably watching this as we go through this. I got three people on here. Arkansas needs this win. They need a win. And again, Arkansas just can't get out of its own way. Long three-pointer miss by Michigan. Jonas Adu has the ball is right there for him to get, and he just slow plays, closing out to finish up the rebound, and it gets away from him out of bounds. Thero back in the game. Brazil out as Michigan's back on offense. Arkansas should have had a defensive rebound there. Got a stop, but didn't. This has been Arkansas's problems all year long in any game, really, even the games they win against mid-majors at home, but especially in these big marquee games. They can't get out of their own way, and they have these long stretches of helping the other team, and you just can't do that. Thero, a grown man rebound on the previous defensive possession. Arkansas's back on offense, so I can't, I won't do live play-by-play. But Arkansas in the second half, when I came on here before this run really got going, Arkansas had forced 9 turnovers and only committed 3 after losing the turnover battle in the first half. Points off turnover 16-11 in the game. The last I checked, now that it's probably gotten closer again with this run because Arkansas's turned the ball over and Michigan's been able to score on the other end. So it's probably just about even there. Points in the paint when I came on, it was 34-26 plus 8 Arkansas. But again, Michigan in this run, it's really a situation. This is now when your offense isn't working and you're in the bonus now under 5 minutes to go, 4:48, you got to make free throws. It's the front end of a 1-and-1. So I can't do the live again. I'll wait until Arkansas is on defense. But this is championship minutes now. This is your real first opportunity if you're Arkansas not your first opportunity. You had opportunities and you blew them. But it's the first time you're seriously in contention since the Baylor game when Arkansas, tied it in the second half, got within 3 inside of a minute. This is your next best opportunity against a good team. away from home to win a game. And it would be your only quad one win in non-conference. After this, Arkansas now just can't get enough stops on defense. But Boogie Flan did make both free throws. Arkansas went back up 8, broke up a 12-0 run. Michigan scores immediately on the other end. So it's back to a 6-point lead, 82-76. Another turnover for the Razorbacks on offense. They're really out of sorts. They're not finishing this game well. Honestly, the way these last few minutes have been going, it's going to take some leadership from somewhere to finish this game out with a win. Someone's going to have to step up and provide it, because Arkansas just gave up on half-court defense after a dead ball turnover, a wide open run to the rim for a dunk. Now they're on offense. Arkansas only up 4 inside a minute to go. This is trending really poorly. It's a 16-2 run for Michigan after being down 18. Nice play. Nice give and go. Nice play. Michigan's on offense now. Arkansas gets a layup from Brazil. So the first field goal in a while. Michigan, another putback dunk. This is multiple putbacks for Michigan on offense. So when they're not scoring easily, they're getting putbacks to stay in this. 84-80, Arkansas's back on offense. Arkansas is going to have to string together not only some scores here in these final possessions, but get a stop or two. Not a good night for Nelly Davis. He did hit a 3 in Arkansas's big run, a big 3 in the run to get Arkansas in the lead. And he just drove into the paint, got fouled, made the field goal. It's in a timeout now, so it's not live. And he's going to have an and one on the other side of this timeout. So there's 3:01 left, 86-80. Arkansas's up 6. Resiliency right now. Look, if Arkansas wins this game, I think Arkansas takes care of business against UCA and North Little Rock on Saturday. This weekend, if the Razorbacks are able to do that, I think this Arkansas team at that point would be 9-2, 2-2 away from home, a quad one win against a 14th ranked team that's won 7 in a row and beat some really good teams. I think at that point Arkansas deserves to be back in the poll. The big thing here is Arkansas, when you looked at Joe Lenardi's, while we're in the timeout, his bracketology update that came out earlier today, Arkansas went 2-0 last week and actually slid from on the bubble, a 10 seed as a last 4 bye, to an 11 seed play-in game in a 60-18 field with a last 4 in projection. So they got even worse there. This is a bubble team based on resume right now. We know it's what matters comes March, but in a snapshot of a season, a team that came in top 20 in the country in the rankings has fallen out of that, doesn't have any quality wins. Again, the best wins been 3 quad 3s. You got 4 quad 4s. You need a quad 1 win in here. The other, I guess, saving grace so far is no bad losses. Arkansas doesn't have a Q3 or Q4 loss. That Miami game would have been a Q3. And so even if you won this Q1, you'd still have a lot of work to do. Not saying Arkansas is still not going to have a lot of work to do. They came in 49th in net. But you win this game, and it may be enough bump in net to get you inside the top 40 again. And then you have 3 more games to close out December before you get into SEC play. So let's say Arkansas finds a way to win this game. You're 8-2. You got UCA and North Little Rock. Then you round out the month, spaced out a week between games from the 14th against UCA to the 21st against North Carolina A&T at Bud Walter Arena in Fayetteville. Then you've got 9 days between that, and Arkansas hosts Oakland, the team that knocked Kentucky out of the NCAA tournament in the first round. But if you win this game and then win those 3, you win 11-2 in non-conference. You went 2-2 away from home. You got a quad 1 win. You didn't have any bad losses. And the SEC is loaded. Lenardi has 12 teams projected into the NCAA tournament right now out of a 16-team league. No other conference has that many. Again, things could get better or worse based on how the season progresses for the league, for Arkansas, for other teams. But right now, this is the kind of win I think it's a must win in a sense. I don't think you can afford to enter SEC play with a bunch of quad 3 and quad 4 wins with only proving that you could, compete a little bit in a couple of these marquee games. You need a win in these. Illinois is about to bounce back and knock off a ranked Wisconsin team at home. So that every opponent that Arkansas has played, win or lose, the better they do, the better it helps Arkansas's net. So you're kind of keeping an eye on some of these other matchups. What a night! DJ Wagner, 14 of his 16 points in the second half. If you remember, he was really tough in that Miami game, especially in the second half. Nelly Davis is at the line now. I can't describe that live. I keep repeating what I can't do. Um, he came into this game an 87.5% free throw shooter. He just doesn't get there a lot because he didn't take a lot of shots. But he knocked down the free throw. I can say it, Michigan's on offense. Arkansas is 12 of 16. Michigan 8 of 12 from the foul line. Slight advantage there for Arkansas. In a close game, it's a big one. And Michigan's going back to the free throw line. But the lead's up to 7. It was an 18-point lead. Michigan went on that big run, 16-2 to get within 4. It's now 7, but Michigan's at the free throw line with 2:49 to play. So this one's going down to the wire. You really kind of wanted to see Arkansas keep its foot on the pedal, but a little adversity struck here, and Arkansas has really not dealt well with it. Other than they have, since getting blanked there in that run for a while, Arkansas has found ways with Flan getting 2 free throws. Trevor Brazil a layup off nice ball movement, a cut to the basket, and received a pass, just a simple layup. And then Nelly with the and one. It's Danny Wolf, the 7-footer, that's really hurt Arkansas in this game. 1 of 2 at the foul line. So this is the Michigan team that you expected, shooting 68% as a team on the season. So only 1 point, and Arkansas had a 3-point and 1 play on the other end. So you're +2 in these last 2 possessions. When you look at your offensive and defensive possessions, it's a 6-point lead with 2:30 left. Beautiful pass on a Nelly Davis comes out of the left corner on a ball fake, takes 2 dribbles in, finds Jonas Adu cutting, and Adu misses the chippy. And another dunk off good ball movement, and Danny Wolf finding Golden. How many times have those 2 big men hooked up tonight? And it's back to a 4-point game. So Arkansas's 2 minutes left, just going to be really trying to figure out a way to get to this win. Jonas Adu off another nice 2-man game rolling the basket, gets met at the rim by Wolf. They call a foul. He didn't finish the dunk, but he was fouled. So we'll see what Adu does at the free throw line. This is becoming a free throw game here a little bit. Arkansas needs to keep the lead growing on offense at the line. So I'm going to wait till Arkansas is back on defense before I describe what happens here. So far, it's not good news after the first free throw attempt. Thank you for joining me on HogvilleNET YouTube Live, by the way. I know these are a little disconnected doing these live in-games. I've got my eyes on the game as we go through it. So Arkansas swaps 1 of 2 free throw trips with Michigan. Back to now, I guess now it's at a 5-point game. It's 88-33. Michigan's on offense. Just under 2 minutes now, 1:50. A lot of Michigan scores down the stretch here in this run have been too easy. And now they've called another foul on Jonas Adu. And I don't know how many fouls that is on him, but that might be it. I think it's on Adu. Not sure yet. Not sure who the call's on because they're not putting any graphics up, and I've got the volume down, so I can't even hear the commentary on it. So Trey Donaldson's going to be at the line a 1:45. The driving lanes were easy early in the game. The 3-point shooting was easy early in the game for Michigan. Arkansas had a nice stretch to close out the first half with its own offense coming to life and getting a few stops here and there. Second half, defense was great. The first 10 or so minutes, and Arkansas was getting out in transition. The offense was starting to click. And then down this stretch and this run, Arkansas's defense just hasn't been good. So Arkansas has struggled in this down this stretch when Michigan does miss free throws. They've had a putback. You had a rebound that Jonas Adu fumbled out of bounds, and now just a simple challenge. When you had position defensively on this rebound to box out, another 1 of 2 trip, missed the second one. The ball's knocked out of the bounds in the corner. Arkansas did not aggressively secure that rebound, and now they're going to review to see whose it is. This could end up being Michigan ball. So it hits It looks like to me it's out on Arkansas, either Nelly Davis or Adu Thero. This is probably going to be Michigan ball. Just watching the replay. And Arkansas's doing everything it can to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, the way I see it. I hate to be too critical, but I'm just watching these plays in the last 8 or so minutes, and Arkansas can't get out of its own way. The Razorbacks are in a position to pick up a huge win, and you'll take it even if it's by a point. But right now, Arkansas is going to have to man up, sack up, get tougher in these because Arkansas played a really tough brand of basketball for long stretches of this second half, only to kind of fade here as we get to the finish line. Yeah, that to me looks like it's out on Arkansas. So on a bad free throw shooting team, you got to assume they're going to clank some, and there might be even some long rebounds, just like a three-pointer. You got to seal your man and not give them any space. Arkansas is better in the physicality department, but at times they still don't find a body, and they're playing space too much. And so I think we're seeing a little bit of that here right now. Got a nice split screen here where they're showing both teams in their huddle. It's a tight game. It's a hell of a college basketball game. Again, you don't want to be too critical with the Hogs tonight, but at the same time, they're really starting to kind of, I won't use the word choke, but they're not capitalizing and they're not finishing plays right now, and it seems like it's in their head a little bit. Maybe some nerves kicking in because they don't want to let go and lose. Yeah, I don't know what they're saying here on the official review, but it looked to me like it would be Michigan's ball. We'll see if that's the case. Thank you for joining me once again. We're 22 minutes in. This may be a little awkward right now in a tight game. I was really hoping when I came on and that lead was 18 that we'd be able to enjoy this a little bit more and not have to do so much play-by-play. You knew a good team would make a run, but I didn't know the way Arkansas was going that the Hogs would have so many really simple letdowns, just simple stuff that they can execute on and just haven't. And Michigan's just driving right into the Razorbacks every time. Either they're getting clear sailing or it's causing Arkansas to foul and put them at the line. So Michigan's back at the free throw line. 4-point game. We'll see if Michigan's able to cut it to a one-possession deficit. Making one free throw does that. If they make both, it's the difference between a 2 or a 3-point game. So we'll see what happens there. It's not a good free throw shooting team, and they've missed some down the stretch, but Arkansas's not finishing those situations off with rebounds. So this could end up being a disaster finish. 139 left. We'll tell you what happened after Arkansas's back on the offensive end here. Pathetic. 1 of 2, missed the second one. Offensive rebound, Michigan. Now they're getting away with the travel, no call, bucket. So that was a 4-point possession. 1 of 2 free throws, and they kept the ball, kept possessing the ball. It's down to a 1-point game. This is the essence of kind of folding and looking, snatching in that scenario where you might be snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. DJ Wagner with a 3-point attempt. Probably not the shot I want. I know he's hit some in this half. Arkansas really needs to attack the basket right now and try to get to the foul line, put pressure on this defense. Arkansas is on the verge here of handing one away. Ball out of bounds. They're going to review this to see whose it is. The call on the floor was to Michigan. So we'll see who's going to possess the ball. Arkansas is really I'm having a hard time articulating it because I'm trying to be careful not to be too negative. But this has just been a really bad. You got to give Michigan some credit, but Arkansas is just having a really, really bad execution. Having really bad execution at both ends. It's kind of in their head right now is the best way to put it. So from the from the replays I'm watching, it looks like it might be off on Vlad Golden. Nelly reached in, poked the ball. It looks like it goes off the fingertips of Golden. I think it should be Arkansas's possession, just based on what I'm seeing here. So good job of him to reach in and to poke at the ball and get it to come loose. It looks clearly like it's off Golden's long fingers, big hand, 7-footer, 7'1" guy. So we'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens here. Official review. Minute 3 left. Arkansas's lead was 18 points. It's down to 1. Yeah, I'm kind of at a loss for words because it's just a stream of negativity. If Arkansas wins this game, I take it all back. If they lose, I was spot on, right? But it does. It feels like the kind of that was a nice play by Nelly Davis. I think Arkansas is going to maintain possession based on where everybody's setting up. All right, so I thought replay on both of them were pretty clear. Arkansas's back on offense now in a 20-second shot clock. Well, Calipari takes a timeout, so I think he's going to try to figure out something better than a DJ Wagner 3 when you didn't put any pressure on the rim of the paint with a drive. Arkansas basically at this point, it's got to find a way to still score and get probably a couple more stops here. So at minimum, you need 1 basket. You might need 2, but you need to score at least once more, and you need a couple of stops probably. Minute 3 left. That's probably about right. I may be underestimating that based on Michigan, if they're still trailing, playing the long game, fouling to stop the clock. So then, but when I refer to scores, I'm really talking more about a bucket. If it gets to a point where Michigan's fouling intentionally, they're stopping the clock, and you expect Arkansas to get some points at the foul line at that point. But if it doesn't come to that, I think Arkansas needs at least 1 more score and a couple of stops. So we'll see what happens here. We're out of timeout now. Arkansas is going to inbound it. I'll let it play and wait till the possession changes. And you probably watching it anyway. I may be behind everybody. Boogie Fland, it's in his hands. I like that. Let's see what Arkansas does. Nothing. Michigan's on offense now. It was just a one-on-one play. No pick, no movement. Boogie lost his footing, slipped, and just threw up an off-balance, falling down shot in that situation. It was like a turnover, although it'll count as a field goal attempt. Michigan on its offensive end, reliably, this is a bad team when it comes to turnovers. 15 per game. Michigan tried to drive hard toward the basket. Player got too deep, trying to circle for a baseline kickout, and stepped on the out-of-bounds line underneath the basket. Arkansas up 1. Will have the ball, 34.7 seconds left. Let's see if Michigan, they're going to try to get a turnover, I'm sure. And they fouled Trevor Brazile. All right. So a smart play. They're extending the game, stopping the clock, playing the foul game. It's 1-1. You inbounded to Trevor Brazile. Probably not who I'd have run into the basketball in that scenario, but that's what Arkansas did. So he's 1 of 2 at the foul line tonight. He'll be at the free throw line. Arkansas is trying to find a way to that winner's circle. It's been no leads forever against good teams, and tonight you built up an 18-point win after trailing by 14. So it's double bonus. It's not 1-1. Not good news on the first attempt. Got another one coming. 32.6 seconds left. Not good news on the second one. Michigan's on offense now. 0 for 2 trip for Trevor Brazile. Not sure why he was the guy. You should have had a play set up to bring someone who's a better free throw shooter coming to meet the ball. Big block shot by Trevor Brazile. Defensive rebound. 14.3 seconds left. He's fouled. He's going to go back to the free throw line. It's been a good game for him. He's not the guy you want at the line. There's still plenty of time for Michigan here. But, man, Arkansas got a stop right there. The Wolf to Golden connection's been there all night. Point blank range off a little pass from Wolf about 5 feet from Golden, right in front of the rim, and Brazil times his jump, goes up, blocks it, comes down with a rebound. He's fouled, and here we go again with Arkansas at the free throw line. With Brazil at the free throw line, he's 1 of 4 there tonight. We may have better news for you if you're not watching it here, and if you are, then you already know. But so Brazil's already attempted 1. One of 2. It's a 2-point Arkansas lead, 89-87. Michigan's on offense, dribbling around. Wolf out high, still dribbling. I guess a timeout by Dusty May. I was wondering, are they calling a foul? It was stop the play. 3.7 seconds left. Arkansas up 2. Timeout. Michigan will have the ball coming out of the timeout. All right. So Trevor Brazil, 2 of 6 at the foul line tonight, 15 points. He, in the last 2 offensive trips, Arkansas's offense basically resulted in a Michigan intentional foul, and he went to the line and made 1 of 4. So, Arkansas's had its opportunities to put this game out of reach, not only with a big lead coming down the stretch of the second half, but then here at the free throw line, and they just continue to get in their own way. I know it sounds negative, and this may end up being a big win. This will be a huge win for Arkansas. 19th ranked defense in terms of efficiency coming in, give up 87 tonight. The last time out, so far 87 with 3.7 seconds left. The last time out against a good team, 90. Of course, Arkansas has more points than Michigan right now. So Arkansas is getting close to that 90 threshold at 89. What a game this has turned out to be in terms of going down the wire. If you're Arkansas, you'll take them any way you can get them at this point. Probably got to be a little disappointed if you lose the way you lost it. But if you close this out with a victory, kudos to from top to bottom. John Calipari, be his first big win as Arkansas's head coach. He's been in these scenarios so many times, but not here in terms of being ready to take a win like this. But it's not going to be any, the significance of doing it in Arkansas probably won't matter to him as much as it will Razorback fans. You ready to have a win like this with the way you've been recruiting? There's a lot of individual talent on this team. Adu Thero and Boogie Fland are probably both going to get drafted. They may both be first rounders. I think Fland is a guy that could be back end lottery, be that good potentially, if not that, a top 20 or somewhere in the 15 to 20 range. Thero's a potential for the first round for sure. Second round at worst, I think. And the season he's having, he's probably going to get a great shot of locking up a first round. So you've got talent. Brazil, by the way, we've seen Brazil up and down at Arkansas in the previous 2 years. And we've seen him have these kind of games. Now, the free throw part of it's disappointing here, but he made a big defensive play, got a stop, got a defensive rebound. He's had a big night all night on the glass, altering shots. He got a steal in this game. He scored. He scored at the rim. Arkansas tonight with Big Z on the court, I thought it hurt Arkansas at times when he was out. I thought Brazil, the trio of Brazil, Adu, and Thero really, all 3 of them came to play tonight. And the production showing not only in the statistics, but your eye test tells you Arkansas has probably been the better team physically matching up with the 7-footers. Danny Wolf's got a lot of good soft skills. Nice passer, can operate with either hand, handling the ball out high around the basket. And then he's just picking and choosing, reading how the defense reacts, whether he takes a shot and finishes, or makes a nice pass for an easy score. You saw Arkansas really struggle with that in the first half, did a much better job to start the second half. And then down here in the stretch, it's almost like they forgot what was working. Choking up a little bit. I'm going to say it. They might win this game, and you'll say, why did you say that? Well, because I am, because it's what I see. But here we go. It's back out of a long timeout. Michigan's going to inbound it. 89-87, Arkansas, 3.7 seconds left. Backdoor cut. Arkansas gets a deflection. A Hail Mary shot at the buzzer. Fade away from about 16 feet is no good. And the Arkansas Razorbacks are going to leave Madison Square Garden, the Jimmy V Classic, with their first quality win of the season, a quad 1 win, the first one for the Razorbacks this season. Michigan came into this game ranked 25th in net. And it was really, when you look at the run that Michigan was on, winning 7 games, this was the 7th high major team that Michigan's played. They upset number 11. They're 2-0 in Big Ten play. Upset number 11 Wisconsin on the road, one of the toughest places to win last week. Defeated Iowa over the weekend. Had already beaten a ranked Xavier team this year. Had beaten TCU. Had beaten Virginia Tech, and had a 2-point road loss at Wake Forest in its second game of the season in week 1. So 7 straight wins. This is a team that's played a lot of good teams, has a lot of good wins, and you understand why it went from being unranked to jumping all the way to 14th. But in my keys, I put Arkansas's keys to success tonight in my preview article that I have at HogvilleNET and KNWA Pig Trail Nation, and I had basically 4 of them. And I said, although based on body of work, Michigan's front line has the advantage, it felt like Jonas Adu Thero, he would present matchup problems because these 7-footers have to contend with him and his quickness and explosiveness getting to the basket. And Trevor Brazil, I thought those guys were starting to really come around. And I felt like if they could all have their best games collectively, like they've done in these last 2 games and ramping up to even maybe more, that Arkansas maybe can neutralize on the front line. I also suggested Arkansas needed its best backcourt game collectively. It had it against Miami, mostly in the second half, that needed a repeat of that after having a down night overall against Texas San Antonio. Well, 2 out of the 3 had good games. When you look at Boogie Flan and DJ Wagner, offensively especially. Nelly Davis, not so much, but he did hit a second half 3, and he did have that big 3-point play when Arkansas was really struggling in that stretch where Michigan was on its run. 89-87, Arkansas wins 7-2. Razorbacks are now, they came in 7-2, now 8-2. That's 10 non-conference games, 3 more to go. The first one of those is in North Little Rock, the Central Arkansas game, 1 a year at Simmons Bank Arena on Saturday against in-state UCA. And then you've got North Carolina A&T a week later, and then 9 days after that, you've got Oakland. All those last 2 games at Bud Walton Arena. Those are mid-majors. You cannot afford a bad loss right now. You just picked yourself up out of a last 4-in projection. We're not going to see Lenardi update for another week, but you got yourself out of that hole. And you may still be not far from the bubble, but I'll be surprised if Arkansas is even considered a bubble team when the next projections come out. Because this is a quad 1 win. Arkansas is now 1-2 in quad 1 games, 2-2 away from home. And I know that's not a good Miami team. I know it's not a good Miami team. But look, at the end of the day, when the dust settles, the quad 3 win there, it would have been brutal to have a quad 3 loss. But the other thing is the eye test. And what happens is when your resume is being poured over at the end of the year, they're going to look at everybody you played. They're going to look at the metrics. They're going to look at, how strength of record, all that. But they're also just going to sit down and look at what was your record away from home. Did you only have quality wins at home? And so even though it won't count as a quality win, you avoided a bad loss. And right now you're 500 on the road. That's excellent. That's excellent if you can continue that kind of rate, because you may not end up being 500 at the end of the year. But when the dust settles, you'll play 9 games on the road in the SEC. Let's say you went 3-6 on road games in the SEC and are away from home. Well, they'd be true road games in the SEC, but away from home in non-conference 2-2, your overall record's not too shabby. That's respectable. And you're going to take care of business at home, which Arkansas 6-0. Yeah, it's all been mid-majors, some trouble spots in there. But again, this one win helps Arkansas in so many ways. It helps the resume. It's going to help the net. It's a quality win in your non-conference. And now you're setting yourself up again to win out in non-conference the last 3. You're 11-2 if you do that going into SEC play. And it's the kind of SEC this year where if you can somehow even go 7-11 with a decent non-conference. Now, Arkansas doesn't have multiple quality wins in non-conference. They do have a 2-2 record away from home and a quad 1 win. But teams in the SEC, I promise you this year, that finish 7-11, because if you've got 12 teams out of 16 predicted in, you're going to have several teams getting in with losing records. Arkansas did it 2 years ago at 8-10. Had a better non-conference really than this team's had. But Arkansas now, if it just takes care of business, is probably going to be ranked in the 30s at worst in net. Probably in the 30s at worst in net. going into league play, and you're just fine right there. And you're going to have a ton of quad one win opportunities at home, on the road. So, at this point, you're not happy with just trying to make the tournament. But right now, you got to feel like you're even worthy of tournament talk at any point. You can't do that if you're 0-3 in these marquee games, and your best win is against a quad 3 7 straight loss Miami team. Even though it was on the road, that couldn't be your best win, and it was. Now it's not. Arkansas's got a quad 1. You just beat a team that had won 7 in a row. Arkansas, by the way, has now won. So Arkansas is 8-2. They've won 7 out of their last 8 games. They're on a 3-game winning streak. Prior to the Illinois loss, it was a 4-game winning streak. They didn't even have a 4-game winning streak all of last season. They're on the verge now with 3 in a row of finishing out. I don't want to jinx it, but mid-majors at home. I know UCA, North Little Rock, but you're on the verge now of having a 6-game winning streak going into. You got an opportunity to do that going into SEC play. You open up at Tennessee. Tennessee played Miami, ironically, I guess, in the first game of the 2-game Jimmy V Classic tonight at Madison Square Garden Arena. And Tennessee, it was a tough game at times, but Tennessee still unbeaten, had a 12-point win against I thought, a valiant Miami effort. Still their 7th straight loss for the Hurricane, but Arkansas just knocked off a team that had 7 straight wins. So so you had to get off the mat. Miami, even though it's a bad team, you had to find a way to win that, to put yourself in a chance really to believe in yourself here. And I felt like in my keys, one of the 4 keys I talked about: front line, backcourt. One of the other things I talked about: can Arkansas find a way not to be down by double digits early and playing so far downhill or trying to climb uphill from the onset? Well, again, Arkansas had an 8-5 lead. Arkansas was making tough physical plays around the basket early. Then it was just a big run. Will Shetter came off the bench. I wrote about him and have talked about him on some of my other segments. They're 6-man that can really do damage. He came in and started just unconscious knocking threes down. The ball movement was good. Arkansas was out of position, and it looked like Illinois all over again. And Michigan was shooting lights out, and Arkansas falls down. What was it, 26-12? The 14-point deficit. You closed within 1. Another 3 goes down for Michigan right before the half, and now you're down 4 at the break. But that's incredible because you were down 14. And in these kind of games, you can never get over the hump. And you gave yourself a chance. And then Arkansas opens the second half with a brilliant 13-0 run. And so they were up 9. I think it was 13-0. They were up 9 before Michigan scored. And it was an and one, I think, to finally get on the scoreboard. But Arkansas didn't allow themselves to get in a funk. They continued to build on that lead after it went from 9-6, and then it outscored Michigan by 12 points over the next several minutes to go up 18. They were up 18 twice, because the first time Michigan came back and scored, and then Arkansas scored again. They put it back to 18, and it was 80-62, about around the time I came on here and started doing my final stretch in game. And that's when Arkansas really, I was being negative. I really went through kind of a sour take on things, simply because Arkansas got out of character, and they were playing the same character they played when they were really getting in their own way in previous games. And you thought they were beyond that, and they just kind of slipped back into it. Give Michigan some credit. They fought, but Arkansas not boxing out on free throws. This isn't a good free throw shooting team. You got to close it out with a rebound. Put back dunks, unforced turnovers on the other end, getting some bad mojo going on both ends, like a team scared of losing. That's what it looked like. But the fact that Arkansas won now, there's no shame in that. You don't have any shame in the fact that happened, because you did enough at the end to make this a win. You had enough stops on defense to make this a win. Yeah, you weren't good at the free throw line. You were as bad, if not worse, than the team you played tonight. I'm sure Michigan was probably a little worse at the free throw line, but Arkansas got there in good number tonight, and they haven't been a very high volume free throw shooting team, and not a great percentage-wise, but they were better than Michigan percentage-wise coming in. So maybe it stayed that way. I don't have the final stats in front of me. But kudos to the Razorbacks. I really thought tonight we saw what this team can be with Jonas Adu and Trevor Brazile, but each playing at high levels. And it's not like they were going up against chopped liver on the front line. The strength of Michigan is its front court. They've got some good guards, but I think it's those two, Wolf and Golden, and even Shetter coming off the bench. I think that's the strength of that team. And Arkansas's front line was up for it. And it was in my keys again. I talked about how I didn't think the advantage was that big for Michigan. I really felt like I'd seen enough from Adu. His minutes had gone up. He's showing me good things. Trevor Brazile too. Kept Trevor Brazile too. And he busts out with a double figure scoring night tonight. Both of them did. Flan, I'm sure, was over 20 tonight. He was at 18 last I checked. And I think he hit 2 free throws later, so he at least had 20. Wagner had 16, 14 in the second half last I checked. Not sure if he scored again after that. Thero was at 13 the last I looked. I'm not sure. Arkansas really went through a drought there. And it wasn't like the shots weren't just falling. Arkansas just wasn't giving itself a chance to get good shots like it did in its run. It got really, really lost. And it wasn't as much about what Michigan does. Like the whole story of the season's been self-inflicted wounds, unforced turnovers, unforced errors. And that's where Arkansas, that was the position they were putting themselves in. And then on the other end, they just couldn't fit. If they had a good defensive stand, it was an offensive rebound and putback. Or they were given wide open driving lanes and not challenging anybody, or bailing out with a foul. Michigan just kind of willed its way to the basket. And Arkansas was like that prevent defense feeling where they're trying to, just get to the finish line, get to the end. We don't care. We're not trying anymore. We've got a lead. Let's just hope we get there. And so Arkansas did have to dig in because it got down to a one possession game with too much clock left. And Arkansas had to make some plays or else. And again, missed some free throws and didn't do everything perfectly there, but you had enough cushion to survive your own self-inflicted wounds in a tough Michigan team. Again, a team that won 7 straight. I'm going to give the Wolverines some credit. Not the best night for Nelly Davis in terms of statistically and having that breakout game that I was hoping he would have against his former coach and teammate. But he helped Arkansas down the stretch there with a few plays. He really did. The and one bucket was huge. It went from a 4-point lead at that point to 7. Then he made that play on the ball after Golden had secured the defensive rebound, and Arkansas was only up 1. And he got a hand in there and knocked the ball loose. It gave Arkansas keeps possession of the ball effectively and 20 more seconds on the shot clock. And so all these little things, Brazile missing free throws, but he had a huge stop after going 0 for 2. You're still protecting a 1-point lead, and he comes down and blocks a shot and gets the defensive rebound. And if you go back to the Miami game, think about Arkansas' success or lack thereof earlier in the year. And it was really Adu Thero and Boogie Flan making just about all the big plays, with some Big Z knocking down some threes, and maybe he'd block a shot here or there. But I really felt like his defensive lapses and lack of physicality kind of gave back often what he was giving you with some of those threes and some of the stuff he did. So I always felt like it was really Thero and Flan carrying this team. And tonight, it was spread around, just like it was in the second half against Miami. And that's what's telling you as you're getting guys back that maybe this will be a good basketball team. It was a bad basketball team for 38 minutes against Miami. Well, for 20 minutes. And then it was a not-so-good team in the second half, finding its way back in. Still a not-so-good team, winning by 3 at Miami. And tonight, there's a case to be made, even though Arkansas didn't finish strongly in the sense you would want them to. 20-7 for Boogie tonight, 7 assists. He continues. And then Brazile, 15 points, 6 rebounds. They got him with 3 steals. But I hope they credited him with a block and a rebound at the end, because that was a block shot and a defensive rebound off the block. That's how that should be credited. I didn't see that on the stat there, but that's okay. What a game. A national stage, prime time against a really good Michigan team. Again, can't say that enough. Now you need Michigan to go win the Big Ten or finish at the top. You need Illinois. Baylor's got 3 losses, played a brutal schedule. Knocked off Arkansas when Arkansas was ranked, knocked off St. John's when St. John's was ranked. Both of those on neutral courts. Lost, we know, destroyed by Gonzaga. Lost to UConn, has another loss in there. Trying to remember who that was to, but Baylor's can still have a really good season. They're still up there in net, by the way. But I can't wait to see the net rankings tomorrow. Arkansas was 49th today. They were 54th a couple of days ago. And there's a chance now a win like this on a neutral court gets you in the either, probably at worst the low 40s, but maybe in the high 30s, somewhere in the 30s. And I think, again, if Arkansas takes care of business against UCA at home, in North Little Rock on Saturday, there's a chance Arkansas works its way back into the AP top 25. I think more importantly is, again, what your season's really going to be, what's going to matter for at large, qualifying for at large, seating and those things is going to be the net resume, and the way you look around the resume and see how do they do away from home, how do they do with teams they're supposed to beat. Arkansas is hurting right now because they didn't beat some of these mid majors the way they should have. But at the same time, last year's team lost to a mid major in November, and they were in the 100s in net pretty quickly, and they had the one quad one win in non-conference against Duke. Big difference on this team is no bad losses, and the Arkansas's got a chance now where that team went 9-4 in non-conference play. This one's got a chance to be 11-2. Yeah, they'll only have one quad one win, but they're situated a lot better. Their net situation as a result is a lot better than where Arkansas was last year on a team that went 16-17. We know how it played out. But coming out of non-conference at 9-4, you were hoping that team would figure things out once it got to the SEC. It never happened. This team has a real shot at it. They got to get some things corrected. They still have a lot of really, I keep saying like a broken record, self-inflicted wounds. And the reason I do that is because a lot of time it's not what the other team's doing. It's what Arkansas hasn't figured out yet, how to play to its strengths. The 13-7 assist disparity in the first half was a perfect example. A lot of that was that Danny Wolf, but he was just driving it to spots, whether he was out high or around the basket, and then just reading what defenders were doing and making easy plays. They were getting layups. Michigan got a lot of close-range layups. Nobody contested them just because of decision-making and ball movement. On the other end, Arkansas missed several easy plays and took 2 extra dribbles and got into tough shots. It's just sometimes small things in basketball that you start to get a feel and a flow, guys playing together, guys figuring it out. But give Arkansas credit tonight. It sounds like I'm kind of piling on to a team that won a game, and a big game. I know I've said that as well. I had planned on doing some recruiting talk tonight. I'm getting close to an hour. And so what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to do the recruiting. I'm going to do a separate segment tomorrow and wrap things up here and go work on my game story. It's late, 10:30 now. I appreciate anyone that's joined me on HogvilleNET YouTube Live. It's been a roller coaster. When I came on, it was an 18-point lead. Looked like it was going to go away. You could probably tell by my commentary that I felt like Arkansas was about to gift this game. But they didn't. And that takes character. Absolutely takes character to play the way Arkansas did, to go from 14 down to go up 18 and then find a way, even though they weren't perfect at the end, to still get to that winner's circle and pick up what I consider not only it's obviously the best win of the season. This could be the game we look back on. It's the most important game in non-conference because you hadn't won against a good team yet, and it's going to hold up as your best win until you get at least in league play. But it may be the season-saving kind of a game so that this team can see that it can win a game like this, because it's going to be night in and night out in the SEC. And they needed to put their stamp on something good going into it, I think. So I hate to be, so dramatic about that. But it very well it could be a game we look back on and say that out of a handful of games that really mattered, if Arkansas ends up being a postseason team, an NCAA tournament team, or even finishes well in the SEC, this may be one of a handful of games we look at and say were really important to this team's growth and ability to get over the hump. And I think it will be obvious that it is if that's where it goes. Remember, Arkansas last year beat Duke. It was a home game, but it was a top 10 rated team, and it was a quality quad one win, and then didn't do much with that. Both teams, Purdue last year at exhibition, Arkansas against number 1 Kansas this year, a lot of similarities that you don't like how this was trending. But tonight, I think Arkansas has given itself a chance now to have success moving into SEC play. This was a big one. Boogie, doggy. Boogie was great at home. Got back to New York City, had a great night. He started slow, struggled a little bit early, and then he found his groove. He had another one of those Kyrie Irving misdirection plays where he was drifting left, took the contact, flicked in a little runner from about 10 to 12 feet, got to the free throw line, hit an and one free throw, and then he was off and running. That got him going. Hit a couple of threes tonight. DJ Wagner with a couple of threes. Nelly Davis hits a three in this one. Adu Thero, who's really streaky. You don't really want him taking a lot. But I thought if he was under the weather tonight, he played a strong game. He helped set the tone by attacking, not backing down from a big front line, attacking, getting to the rim. Brazil played that way all night. This is about as tough as I've seen Brazil play. Honestly, we've seen it a few times. Against Duke last year, but there was some element about this game that reminded me before he got hurt over in Maui in that big win over San Diego State, 18th ranked San Diego State. Game went to overtime. I think Brazil that night, 20 points, 9 rebounds, but had a lot of just tough guy plays in that game. He's had a few other ones. Remember in Battle for Atlantis, I think he had a couple of double-doubles over there and had some monster rebounds. He has these stretches where you're like, why aren't you locked in like this with motor running and willing to take on all comers consistently? And we know he's had the injuries, but he did. He did tonight. He was consistently tough. Free throw line be damned. The other stuff was great from Brazil, and I thought he'd do. Some of his work around the basket was really outstanding. Some of the offensive stuff, he laid. He didn't close out on a rebound, but a couple of his point blank shots that he missed, he didn't really play through the play when he got contact. It's like once he felt contact, he kind of let up and let the whistle do all the work. But get yourself an and one. Get yourself 2 or 3 and ones, big fella. Finish through those plays. Go ahead and finish your shot. He kind of let off a little bit, I thought, on some of the opportunities. But again, Adu had really a great game, so I kind of gravitated to some of the negative just because of that long stretch where Michigan got back in it. But at the whole body of work, Arkansas did a lot tonight, won a game, and Jonas Adu, Trevor and Brazil weren't unsung heroes. They're being sung. They were great. Thero, too, under the weather, had a good game. Flandon Wagner, Nelly Davis with some plays in that second half. A three-pointer when Arkansas was on that run in the corner, and he'd missed a couple that just rimmed out on him. Made a poor decision when he got in the paint, tried to force a pass when he had a little 10-footer, 12-footer. But then that corner three, the and one play late when Arkansas desperately needed some way anyway to score, and then he makes that play, knocking the ball off Golden's hands out of bounds with about a minute left in a game where every little thing matters. All right, we're going to sign off. Arkansas's 8-2. Huge win, 89-87 over 14th ranked Michigan in the Jimmy V Classic, Madison Square Garden. Big stage in New York City, the biggest there is. It's the Mecca, you know that. John Calipari, his first marquee win in Arkansas. The Hogs, their first quad one win. Arkansas's second, and their last 3 games have won all 3. 3-game winning streak. 2 of those 3 away from home, won a true road game at Miami. And now tonight, their first neutral site win of the year. And now you're 2-2 away from home. So there's a lot that's good here for Arkansas as they get closer and closer to wrapping up non-conference play, getting into the SEC play. And now I plan to do a recruiting segment tomorrow. So I'll have a separate segment here on HogvilleNET YouTube Live. If you haven't done it already, please hit subscribe, like, and share. Appreciate you being on here. Until next time, see you then.